A jury could soon have the case of a former Missouri City police officer who is accused of hiring hitmen to kill his wife. Closing arguments are taking place right now in the capital murder retrial of Robert Fratta. And good morning, I'm Melanie Lawson.
Good morning, I'm Art Rascon. Robert Fratta is facing the death penalty over the killing of his wife, Farah, 15 years ago.
Now, he's maintained that he was innocent all along, despite of being convicted of that crime back in 1996.
But that conviction was overturned when a judge ruled that some evidence used in the case was inadmissible.
Eyewitness News reporter Eric James is live with what prosecutors and defense attorneys are saying as they give their final pitches to the jury. Eric?
Well, Melanie, I can tell you that closing arguments just started probably roughly about 20 minutes ago, and the prosecutor in this case, Mia Magnus, started going through a litany of things that the jury has to consider. If you recall that this case was granted because the Court of Appeals threw out a number of key pieces of evidence, so they had an uphill battle from the very beginning in this particular case. Now, with the closing arguments, she did start asking the jury to consider what they do have, what they can look at. They have to look at the evidence that was presented in this case, especially involving the autopsy and how close the gun was to the victim in this case, Farah Fratta. Now, this case was originally prosecuted in 1996, and again, some evidence was thrown out, and it has to do mainly with the two men who were found guilty of her original murder and that they were hired by Robert Fratta in this case. Now, the prosecution is asking them to look at, again, the autopsy report and how close these men may have been to Farah Fratta, and that in this particular case, that if there was this deal, if they do agree that there was a deal between Robert Fratta and the two men who are now on death row, that he did not have permission to actually give them the right to go into the house to commit this crime. So therefore, they committed a burglary, and in that offense, that resulted in capital murder. And so they're trying to get the jury to convince him on the capital murder trial, again, in this particular case, based on what evidence they do have in this particular case. Now, again, closing arguments only started about 20 minutes ago. Each side has an hour to present their final arguments, and the jury has been asked to pack an overnight bag in case they do not reach a final verdict today. So they will stay overnight and then continue their deliberations tomorrow. We do have another crew in the courtroom, and of course, as soon as we know more, we'll be sure to let you know. Reporting live, Eric James, 13 Eyewitness News.